Today on the channel, the brand new Pavo20 Pro from BetaFpv. There it is, guys, with full LEDs on there. It's looking pretty cool. It is on a 3S battery. Right now I have a 450 on there, but you can fly up to a 550, 650. I mean, even some of the smaller made 750s you could probably fit on here. We'll talk about the flight time. We'll talk about the durability. We'll do some indoor flying with it right here in the house. And if it ever stops raining outside, I'll take you outside too. But this one also came with a little LED controller that I have put on the very side right there. You can see those two little buttons. You can see the in for the LEDs and the out right there for the power distribution board. And it has two little buttons on here which let me control the LEDs, which is pretty cool. You can turn them on and off. And that also lets you change even the side that they're on. So it gives you full LED, or you can do it from one side. If you long press, you can change the different colors on there as well. And now you can see, like the B25, it does have some different modes on here. So this is kind of a strobing mode. And then we can go into some other modes by pressing that bottom left button right there. It'll make it solid. And now it's doing a fade. So it's pretty cool that these manufacturers are coming out with all different types of brand new LED systems, and it seems like that's what you have to do if you release a Cinewhoop these days. So I'm going to long press again, and then it changes to very similar to the B25 again, like the marching ants around the whole perimeter of the quad. That's pretty cool. I'm going to long press again, go to the next mode, fast, slow. So you can speed it up or slow it down. Isn't that cool? I mean, I'm going to show you some flight footage here in a second, but I'm just having some fun playing with those LEDs. There's kind of a wisping motion. That's pretty cool. Pretty impressed with all the different types of LED functions we're seeing these days. And there's another mode. There's back to red. And that looks like it's going to do some rainbow. We've got blue, pink. That's pretty cool. So this is kind of like, if you're wondering, this is kind of like a miniature version, a little smaller version of the B25. This one comes in at 2.2 inch, and it does have downward facing motors, full carbon frame. It has DJI 03 on here, and it has that cool little PCB board controller for changing the multifunction LEDs. And these are called the Cobb LEDs. They just plug in at the very back right here. And they also have a plug-in USB-C port. But I'm going to show you all that good stuff coming up after the flight test. And right now, I think we should go fly this one. So fly indoors, and if it ever stops raining outside, again, like I said, we'll go outside and fly. So here we go, Pavo20 Pro. All right, guys, let's go ahead and do a live flight test together. I love doing this kind of thing because I can kind of fly along with you, giving me my first impressions on the quad. So I'm recording here in the goggles. Just gonna double check that. We are recording. I'm gonna go ahead and take off. And a little bit of a bounce there on the takeoff. But I'm just going to talk about the tune on this quad. We're going to talk about the rates. And kind of my first impressions is that I'm backing off the stick a little bit because it does feel automatically like faster than the B25. It's just a quicker on the rates. And the tune really does feel like it's kind of an outdoor tune more than like an indoor tune. So if you like quick rates and like fast response, like see how much faster I can get going. I can get going a lot faster. So it's definitely really quick. And again, if I want to slow down, I just back off the stick a little bit and go back to sort of cinema style. Hopefully I can make it through this little gap right here without kind of throttling out of it. Made it through. Nice. So it definitely has good control, good throttle response on 3S. Definitely like more maneuverable than the first version of the Pavo20. So as far as the Pro, you're getting an upgraded motor and power system on here for sure, and a little more snappy. So I mean, it kind of should be able to do pretty good freestyle as long as it doesn't have a lot of tumble. And again, I can just back off the stick a little bit if I want to slow down and get like that cinema style. So if you're an experienced pilot, you could tune down these rates and do indoor real estate with this with no problem. But I definitely think it can do either or. And I'm already making some gaps on my first flight, so that's good news. It's not overly quick on the rates, which is good. So again, yeah, it's a fun little whoop indoors. It's kind of what I expected, and then if I want to, I can really get on the speed, put a little more throttle into my indoor flying, but I don't want to break this frame just yet before I get outside and do some freestyle. But it is doing quite well, so I think we should go outside with it because it looks like it has, maybe it has some great freestyle ability. I think this is a nice upgrade from the original one, so without further ado, let's do it. Let's go outside and fly this little guy before I land it in the dishwater. Indoors. Coming in for a landing. All right, let's do it. All right, here we are outside. Let's go ahead and do some flying around the yard. We'll see how it feels on 3S outside. I'm gonna go ahead and start recording. All right, here we go. It is super wet outside too, by the way. And I am flying in acro mode. Just to let you guys know, you can see it raining outside. Some good gaps already set up. I'm just like doing some cleanup in the backyard. Definitely has, again, like I was talking about, higher rates for sure. I can feel that in that roll right there. Got like good recovery. Now let's try not to hit the ground because it's soaking wet on the ground. And these batteries are sagging out pretty quick, but man, look at that color on that 03. It's looking good. So yeah, definitely has a lot of freestyle capability. Feels much faster than the original one. It feels looser. Definitely has a looser feel to it. And the way these motors are, I feel like I could punk out this battery pretty quick. I know for a fact it'll power loop. Feels flowy though. I almost hit myself in the arm. Uh-oh, almost got in trouble. A little split S. Yeah, this is a lot of fun. Getting back on that throttle, almost touched the ground right there. Whoo, boy, that was close. Yeah, I'm feeling it. So definitely a lot faster than the original, more capable, freestyle. I definitely want to do some more videos on the freestyle side of this quad. So right now I'm just trying not to put it on the ground because of how wet it is out here. But it's going to be durable. These frames are durable. You shouldn't have a whole lot of problem with durability. Man, look at that thing. Definitely fast, controlled. It's fun. All right, I'm at a low battery, and I'm gonna take you guys back to the bench now. We're gonna talk about what this quad's capable of, and yeah, what it's all about. I'm gonna show you some of the specs on it, show you the motors, and talk about the setup, and some advice on how to land correctly. All right, guys, welcome back from the flight test. This is the box that you get, and I got the ELRS SPI version. It has a built-in ELRS 2.4 receiver on board the flight controller. It has a little antenna sticking off the bottom. And this quad right now, it has about 18 reviews on the website. It's about 4.5 stars. And if you get the Nightfire ELRS versions limited edition, that one's $105. If you get the ELRS 2.4 version, that one's also $105. And the TBS Nano receiver version, that one's $134.99. So the Pavo20 Pro with the LEDs on board and the O3 and the little controller for the LEDs is weighing in at 107.3 grams by itself. Now if I add the Tattoo 3S 650 battery, that's 160.5 grams total takeoff weight. And there it sits on the bench, guys. It's a pretty cool looking little Cinewhoop. Again, it is inverted motors, but with the tune and the upgraded power system, I feel like it's a cinema quad and it's a freestyler. So a little bit of backyard power. The top end of the throttle is super juicy. It really does a nice punch out. It will climb to the top of the trees in your backyard and do some dives without a problem. It will power loop. It will split S. It did have a little bit of tumble on some of the really hard maneuvers that I was trying. Once the grass dried out, I was able to fly it a little bit more, but it's pretty much the same setup as what we've seen before with the O3 cage. This top plate comes off with 4 screws on the bottom, and we also have the addition of the 1104 series motors. I've flown 1104 for wow, probably about 7 years, and kind of the early days of the micro brushless movement. 1104s were the motors that you would see come around when we were flying a 2-inch quad on 3S and 4S batteries. So the 1104 is nothing new, but it is the higher and the top end of what you'll see with a 3 and 4S micro brushless. Now, as far as battery choice goes, when you guys are buying batteries for this quad, it is an upgraded power system and it has more demand on the batteries that you're going to be flying on this quad. I was flying some older Tattoo 3S 650s, and these were getting me like 3 minutes flight time when I was freestyling. A little longer indoors. You can push it out to about 4 minutes on some older batteries. If you're flying some brand new, say the Lava 3S 550s on the website, they're claiming that you can get up to 6.5 minutes flight time. And if you're doing like indoor real estate or any type of cinema videos, that's a pretty good amount of flight time for something so small. But again, I feel like you're gonna want to probably freestyle this one or make it like your acro trainer. If you do that, then you're gonna definitely want to start out with some brand new batteries to get over 5 minutes flight time with this quad, because the power system is quite demanding. BetaFpv was also working with GemFan to create some brand new props for this particular quad, and they're telling us that it's going to give us about 8 to 11% boost as far as the thrust at the top end of the throttle. And I can definitely feel that. Even when I'm flying around the house, when I first took off the counter, I noticed that it was kind of punchy just taking off. So one thing you're going to have to get used to is the amount of power to weight ratio that's going on with this. It's kind of like 11 to 1 for something so small. You know, on 3S, it's definitely going to give you more juice in the throttle. So if you're trying to fly cinema and things like that, you might want to back down and limit your throttle to about 75% or so to get smoother flying out of this power system. And these props are the GF2218 3-blade freestyle props. And the wheelbase itself, even though they've kind of streamlined everything down, it's a lot lighter than the original one. It is a wheelbase of around 93.7 millimeters from motor to motor. One of my favorite things about this style Cinewhoop is that it is pretty low profile. It has this cage up front for housing the O3. You can get level tilt out of it and about 30 to 35 degrees, plenty of tilt. It says Pavo on the side, which is kind of cool. That's been there for a while. And you see my O3 sticking out back here. We've got my dipole antennas coming up out the back. It supports the dual dipole, or you can have a singular dual antenna come out the middle, which is kind of nice. And it does come with a flight controller. It's an F4. It supports 2 and 3S batteries. It's 20 amp AIO flight controller, and it is the version 1. And it also has plug and play motors. So even though these are 1104 series motors, it's kind of a like a no solder design because the motors just plug right into the harnesses here. And even in the back right here where our XT30 comes out, you can see this little port right here. It has another cord that comes in the box, and there's a USB-C adapter for plugging into BetaFlight right here in the back. Over here on this side, I just took some VHB, some 3M VHB sticky tape, and put this little controller for my Cobb LEDs right on the side. And when I want to get to my video stuff, I can just peel this off and put it back. So it's pretty simple to set this up. You just need to pay attention to where on the back side of this board it says in and out. So it will be power in from the flight controller, and I believe this is the inside. And on the side with the two buttons right here, it's going to be out to the LEDs, which I have just going all the way down to the back right here. And they're pretty easy to put on, and they're pretty easy to control. And now I'll just plug these in for you and show you how they load up, because I know you guys want to see the Cobb LEDs with the upgraded control board, which is pretty cool. And we already changed them to rainbow earlier. It has two buttons on here. One is the top button on the far outside, and just trying to see what that actually does. Pressing that for you. If I long press it, let's see what it does. Now it changed the function, so it changed it to a fade. I'm going to press it again, and that looks like it's fade, color fade. Long press it again, and now we're kind of going through the different modes. So the bottom button here, if I long press that, we'll try to get out of the rainbow mode. Long press, now we go to red. That's looking pretty cool. Not bad, BetaFpv. I always like the Cobb LEDs. They have kind of a plastic or silicone coating over top of them, so if you bump something, they're not usually gonna break. I've seen people tear these up. Now we're into yellow, and you do have to long press that button to make it change. And now it's cycled to flashing. I'm gonna long press again. And now we've got the ants marching. Things like, it reminds me of like the state fair carnival rides. Long press it again. I like that one. That one's pretty cool. Long press again. This is the bottom button here. And there I'm back to red. Now it's cycling through the colors. That's pretty cool. So you have pretty unlimited options as far as your LEDs configuration goes. Now it's cycling through all the colors. That's a win for BetaFpv. So I mean, some final thoughts about this one is that the price is pretty good. It's probably going to end up costing you around the $300 price point when you add everything on here. Like say you add an external receiver if you want. It does have a built-in SPI version. It says that the Nightfire ELRS version's limited edition, so I'm assuming that the Nightfire version comes with the Cobb LEDs. And again, they already have a harness coming off the flight controller, and just plug it into this control board. And this control board came with mine, so I'm assuming that when you buy that Nightfire edition that you're going to get that controller along with your Pavo20 Pro. So same overall setup here, easy to set up. There's no screws on the motors themselves. They're just push on, and they didn't come off a single time that I was flying them, thank God. They do look like they are about 1.5 millimeter shafts, so I had to confirm that. And then they are 1104 series motors and 7500 kV, so they're a little higher end on the kV, which gives this quad a little bit more boost, that sort of 11-to-1 power ratio that we were talking about. Again, I do like the low profile. It's under 250 grams. You can fly cinema, you can fly freestyle. What I would like to see is maybe I would try like a 750 size battery. I almost think we could get away with a 750, or dare I say an 850 on this. I think at 850 it would be getting a little too heavy, but I would suggest you guys try out some 750s. I think that would probably be something that you would enjoy. But at the end of the day, I'm going to give this one definitely 2 thumbs up for the channel. And I just think they did a lot of things right on this one versus the last one was pretty mild. And I think this one's like freaking mild to like supercar status. It's fast in the backyard. Like if you haven't flown much before, get ready to crash, because you guys are probably going to tear these up. If you're somebody brand new, it's going to look like it, you know, was drugged through the mud by the time you're done with it. I mean, that if that's what you're looking for, you know, by all means, go for something like this and rip it around your backyard, bounce it off trees, hit the swing set, hit the fence, whatever. Try to keep it out of the neighbor's yard. That'll be a challenge because it is super fast. So find yourself like a bigger area if you go out to fly this one. But I'm going to keep mine set up for now, and I'll bring you some freestyle videos on the channel. So stay tuned for those. We'll take it out to a little bigger space than just the backyard, and we'll do some ripping and dipping with this one. It's definitely a freestyle Cinewhoop, if you will, from BetaFpv. But I appreciate you guys watching the channel, guys. Again, I'm Justin Davis. And next time, I'm going to bring you more fun stuff, more drone videos and reviews and drone news coming up on the channel. Please do subscribe, and I will see you on the next one.